All right.
Bonjour, Bellon.
Bonjour, Velum. First time hearing you talking French. How are you, Haas?
Good, brother, yourself.
Super excited to have you here today, bro. We've been talking for almost 10 months, I think, since last Nationals.
All the way through, man. You got it.
Bro, I was at Nationals last year as a spectator.
Oh, really? Right on, man.
Yeah, I was front row because I had my teammate, Doji, who
Right.
turned,
Yeah.
who turned pro in men's physique.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I know. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And Tyler, your coach, he was
Mhm.
right next to me yelling his lungs out, bro.
Yeah.
Hoss, Hoss.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like,
You like
yo, and I was like, yo, if your coach is not emotionally invested in you like this,
right?
and
Oh, yeah.
that's when I spoke to Tyler the first time. And I'm like, so you're coaching this guy, and I went on his IG, and I'm like, holy
Mhm.
shit, bro, you're prepping for the Olympia.
Yeah. He was a week out, dude, and he was there the whole day. He was
I
there.
cannot. That's like just right now talking about this gave me chills because
Yeah.
I'm so blessed. Like I'm gonna be prepping my first athletes next year.
Hmm.
I have two guys that's confirmed they want to do a show in 2026.
Yeah.
One guy is still like, I want to get my wife pregnant, so I don't know yet type shit. But I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
how am I gonna be able to prep guys if I'm on prep? Like I'm 5 days out. Okay, so
Yeah.
you know exactly how peak week is,
Yeah.
and I'm like, how am I gonna? How can I bring guys on stage if I'm at this level of energy? And Haas was prepping for the Olympia, and he was acting like this.
Yeah.
He's a maniac.
Dude, people don't understand the consummate professionalism that requires. Like, I could not believe, based on his demeanor, based on his level of communication, his level of enthusiasm, passion that he exudes from the crowd. Like, man, if your girl don't support you the way Tyler does at a bodybuilding show, you need a new girl, dog. Like, that's this guy, man. Like, I could not believe he was in peak week for the Olympia. And for the record, he was peeled going in, and the fact he was just there, I could watch him, like I could physically see the strain on his face when he was like fighting like the what's the word, like going hypo and things like that. And he had all the meals on him. He ate everything cold because they pulled a lot of the microwaves out of the rooms, knowing that it was a bodybuilding show and they were going to be bringing whitefish, right? So they pulled all of our microwaves. So he's eating all this whitefish, like cod, tilapia, whatever it was, with like greens, just cold in
Are you
the.
gonna be at the Delta?
Yep, absolutely.
I'll bring a rice cooker and stuff. So if you need to warm up and they take off the microwave, pull up.
Oh,
It's a
keep
Korean.
that thing on me, man. You know how it is.
By the way, Haas, people watching my podcast, they probably already know who I am. So I'm gonna give you the platform just to introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. My name is Haas Hayes. I'm a national level competitor here in the classic physique division with the Canadian Physique Alliance. I will be in the Canadian National Pro Qualifier with my man Taha here in about, geez, a little over 2.5 weeks time.
18 days.
Exactly. You're like me. You got that counter. It's like the advent calendar for Christmas, right? But instead of like popping a chocolate out each day of the calendar, though, it pops out like maybe like one, like I don't know, like a tablet Clen or something like that.
Too many pills right now to count.
Dude, I know exactly, but yes, so I will be there with Taha. We're in the same division, and of course, I have full confidence he's going to crush someone this week. Very excited to watch that. We'll be sharing a stage for the first time, and I'm
You
also.
know, it's not confirmed yet. I have to qualify.
No, 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 no. I just have full faith in you. That's all I'm saying, brother.
My
Oh,
guy, I appreciate you.
it's not a
Don't want to
question
jinx it.
whatsoever, man. No, man. Don't even entertain that, bro. It's yours. It's yours. Just take it.
We just say, inshallah, we work hard, we do the work, and we leave the rest on God. Because, you know, at the end of the day, we never know who can show up. Like, I could be at my best, right? I could be at my absolute best, and I couldn't even be better than that. But let's say a guy who's been bodybuilding for 10 years plus, it's his time, and it's just not mine. It's not in my control, right?
Bingo. And that's my exact mentality as well. Obviously, we both come from a very faith-based place. And last year, when I got off the stage at Nationals, I got second in B, right? And it was that weird call at a prejudge where they had Humberto holding middle at one point, they had Tyler Jones holding middle, and they had me holding middle, all for one call out each, right? And heading into the final, and you can't, you take everything backstage with a grain of salt. If someone ever approaches you and starts pumping your tires, even if there's someone who's got a very qualified eye, somebody who's very credible within the industry, someone very well reputed, if someone comes up to you and says, "Hey man, I just want you to know, like you look amazing. Like I watched you grow from your last show, which in my case was Vancouver Pro, where I won class, then lost the overall for the card." And he's like, "I want you to know, like I watched you grow from then to now. And it's incredible. And I don't want to get your hopes up, but like, I think you got this. Like I think today is your day." And then immediately within 5 minutes, I was out there on stage for the awards, and he had to hand the guy who got first over me his medal for Class B. And he kind of like looked at me, looked at the guy, and was like, "Sorry, brother, my bad." But getting off stage after something like that, however, I wasn't upset whatsoever. All I did was fall to my knees. You know, I pulled up my cross, I prayed. I prayed with my friend Humberto, who won the Masters 35 card.
Me and him we were in the same division at Summum 2 weeks before that.
Right, that's right. Yeah, he wasn't B at Summum because he had to requalify. That's right.
You're
yeah.
B as well, bro.
Pardon me?
You're B?
Am I what? Oh, yeah, I'm Class B.
We're in the same class.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, man.
We're gonna be on stage together.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I meant by we're gonna be sharing the stage, bro. So like, I'm only I'm the 194, so I'm about like an inch taller because you're the 187, right?
Yeah, my cap is 187.
Right, and you're well under that, so you're gonna be able to like feed into the weigh-in and be nice and full. Whereas the guys who have to push really hard, you said this on the previous episode with Jesse, and I totally agree. Like last year, I was one of those guys who got under, but then I got about 4 pounds too far under the cap, and then it was really hard for me to fill out, for example. But you're so far under that you can feed into it really safely.
But I'm starting my refeed Friday, so.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, right. And you know what? Because you have Summum, it's a great time to kind of test that peak out, right? Because you might realize that you have to start carving up a little bit sooner. You might realize that you have to get a little bit tighter, and not to say this is just general observation, not you specifically, but it's really nice sometimes to have that regional a couple of weeks in advance. You still treat it like it's your Olympia because you can't let your foot off the gas. That's when you say shit like that, and then you get like 6th, 7th, 8th. You know, when you say it's a warm-up show, I had a buddy do that this year. He was saying, he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing the show out in Vancouver, and then I'm going to stay for a few weeks till the pro qualifier. But first one is just a warm-up, so I'll only come in at like 80%. Like I'm not going to peak fully, no big deal." And he didn't even place. And then so he just had to like.
Yeah, there's two things I want to touch on. First one is when you said, you know, when that guy said, "Hey, I think you're gonna win" and everything, and he had to give the trophy to the other guy.
Yeah.
You went backstage. Like me last year when I did Summum, it was my first show ever. Okay.
Right.
I got 6th place out of 15 guys, and I was so fucking happy, bro. Like I was cloud 9. I was like, yo, I did the open. I didn't even do novice. I went straight into the open. I got 6th place out of 15 guys. Some of them, they already did 2-3 shows before me.
And that's a tough lineup, man. That's a real lineup.
You know why I was happy? Because at least I made it in the call out. Because you're not in the call out anymore. You're just standing behind. So me, I'm like, at least I fucking made it. You know, I'm in the comparisons. You know, so that's the thing. Second thing, I really want your every single piece of advice and tip you can give me on what's about to come next, because it's my first time, inshallah, if I make it to nationals. My first time doing a show and then having another show 2 weeks after. And coach already told me, like, we're prepping for nationals. After Summum, you have one cheat and then you're back on diet. Like you're back. The goal is to be even sharper for nationals, right? So how am I gonna manage that? How am I gonna, like, you know, because last year, unfortunately, me after Summum, I gained 35 pounds in 10 days, bro. Like my rebound was, like, I learned from it. I'm happy. My knees were, you know, I was praying, and like when I would get on frustration, my knees, my ankles were so swelled up. I'm like, yo, I never felt that while I was praying. It was really uncomfortable.
Yeah, the edema, right?
Yeah, but the water retention and shit like that, it's actually dangerous, you know, for your kidney, for your liver, for the blood pressure. It's really bad. So I learned my lesson from it. But now it's like, okay, I'm never gonna do that again for sure.
Yeah.
But now I have to be even more dialed in after this show.
Yes.
Going into Toronto. So like you did a lot of shows, bro. You even did a show in Vancouver. Like you took a plane to go do a show. Like that's, for me, that's a whole nother level, and I can't wait to do that. Like me, my dream, I think all of us, that's our dream, to just compete internationally and do this shit for a living, and like it's an athlete's dream. So tell me, how do you manage doing a show and having 2 weeks between a show and then doing another show, stuff like that?
That's a great question, actually. And although it's context dependent based on what the feedback was after the initial qualifying show, one thing I will really say is from a mental perspective, regardless of whether you were a little bit short of expectation, or you blew all expectations out of the water, let that either push or pull you heading into the next show in, let's say in your case, 2 weeks, right? So let's say you crush it, you win the overall, you blow it out of the water. Let that propel you. Yeah, exactly, inshallah. So let that propel you, and let that be a reminder that you got through how many weeks you've been prepping so far?
20. We did a 20-week prep.
What's 2 more? That's a big one too. So bear in mind that you've had 20 weeks to prove to yourself, to God, to everyone, that you're more than capable of this. And that now that you've already, like, the work is done, realistically speaking, if you know what I mean, right? This is the fun part. This is where you should be as present as you can day to day.
Tomorrow is my last workout.
Exactly. And in my opinion, man, rushing kills presence. The more I think ahead to that cheat meal, the less present I am. I get off that stage and I just think it's over. That's it. And then it's like, even that first cheat meal after the stage, I'm like, you know what? I think first place in overall or a pro card would have tasted a lot better than cheesecake. So
you have a beautiful relationship with food. I mean,
yeah,
a better one than me.
You know what, Matt? And there's a reason for that, in all fairness, because like I was very, very sick about 3 years ago. I just had like a bad, I'm trying to say this in a way that's, yeah, it should be fine. I had a vaccine injury, and so I got very sick. I already had Crohn's disease, so IBD, right? I had that to begin with, and a lot of that was just poor dietary decisions when I was younger, and eating a certain way throughout my childhood and whatnot, and just different times culturally. Like, it was common to have your kids eating like zoodles and Lunchables and things like that. And like I had the same lunch from kindergarten all the way until the 9th grade.
Mine was probably hot dogs, bro. Like, when we were kids, like our parents just pack hot dogs lunch.
It was different, and I don't fault them for that at all. This isn't a hit on my parents or anything, or anyone whose parents were in those shoes.
They didn't know better, like especially us in our culture,
Mm-hmm.
like the Arab Muslim culture.
Yes.
Fitness and health is like, you take care of it. You actually pay for a coach to take care of, like, it's so undermined thing, you know? And me, I feel like as a Muslim bodybuilder in the community, that's something that I really want to preach and bring about to our people. Like, hey,
Yes.
taking care of your health is primordial. It's like, you cannot skip that. You can't be a good Muslim if you're fat, slobby, and weak, you know? God loves a strong worshiper. So I think it's...
Yep, Christianity is the exact same way in that regard, man. Like, we hear about the body being a temple and whatnot, but another thing that goes criminally under the radar, even amidst Christians, is, so if you're in church every Sunday, but then everything you've learned goes in one ear and out the other by Monday, you're playing church. You're not following Christ in our case, right? Following God. So I had a pastor tell me one time, he's like, he pulled up a guy from the crowd, really big, ripped black guy. He was in great shape. And this is when I was a lot smaller, huge. And he goes, believe it or not, Johnny and I go to the same gym. So why do we look so different? What's going on with that? And he goes, aside from being like, well, he's got, West African genetics, which would have been hilarious. But he goes, you see, the thing is that he brings the gym home with him. He goes to the gym, let's say 5-6 days a week, and then he goes home, he preps all of his food, he does the cardio, he does everything. And faith is very much the same way. Like, if you just leave church at church and you go and you just worship yourself the rest of the week and you don't practice what you preach, you're a bad actor, right? And our sport, and that's where I think there's a very healthy marriage between Islam and bodybuilding, Christianity and bodybuilding, or any belief system.
Sports, yeah, like even in UFC, you see all the top guys, they're like really religious, really disciplined when it comes to their craft.
Absolutely, and they're all giving praise nowadays. Especially, I love how it's been on this trajectory recently, where it feels like every big storyline has God at the center of it, whether it's a Muslim fighter, a Christian fighter, etc. And I think that's football is the same way right now. So many people are converting in either which direction, or they're getting saved and whatnot. And they're all very, 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 very willing to give praise where it's due and keep their God at the center of what they do. And I think that's just something, like, in terms of, you remember, like, this vessel that we've been blessed with this health and vitality and this freedom to move and exercise and exert ourselves and essentially explore what the physical beauty that our bodies are capable of. Like this is a vessel, like this could be very well be our canvas, our painting that we present to God.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to treat that vessel with respect, right?
100%. Look, us in my religion, there's a hadith. Hadith means it's a saying by the Prophet. It says that God, He's gonna ask us for three before three. Three things: your health before your sickness, your youth before you get old, and your money before you went broke. So like, what did you do with the money before you lost it? What did you do with your health before you lost it? And what did you do with your body before like it got old? You know, like how did you take care of what I gave you before you went it all away? So it's very important. I want to talk about this because it's a vice of mine. And seriously, we're on a podcast.
The vape, yeah.
People are seeing me vape. I started working out at the age of 17 because I wanted to stop smoking cigarettes. That's the reason why I got into the gym.
Yep.
At 17, not feeling confident, not the best look in my skin, really shy guy, afraid to approach people. You know, I'm like, yo, just go work out. Maybe it's gonna help you stop smoking and stuff. I got addicted to the gym, but I never stopped smoking. Like I did drop the cigarettes. I'm disgusted right now. I can't smoke cigarettes. But there's this, and I'm seeing so many bodybuilders vape too. So what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I'll tell you what, from everything
I know it's bad, but I want to know your thoughts on it.
I'm not here to demonize any of this stuff, man. Like we all know that the pharmaceuticals are incumbent of this sport. It's not for me to have this continuum of good, better, best, or this compound bad, this compound good. Just individual preference, or it's context dependent, right? Maybe it's what works and what doesn't, right? It's
Do you think it has a big impact on physique?
Yeah, so in my personal opinion, in my observations with clients, I find it suppresses appetite personally, right? Even when we're talking vapes, I'm not talking like cigarettes or cigars and whatnot. Exactly, right? So I found it's a good appetite suppressant, and I find, you know about like Zins, right? Like the chew.
Yeah.
I find a lot of people find cognitive benefits to those, especially late in the prep. So when things like focus begin to wane in that home stretch, I know a few guys who will, like, you know, Ian Belair.
Yeah, the guy smoking cigarettes on video.
But only like 2 to 4 weeks from the show, and then he would stop, right? Because he never enjoyed it, but it would help him. And Marcus Rule, all the German guys from back in the like 80s and 90s,
even the Persian guys, the Iranians,
dude, they would be chain smoking between sets. Like they would literally like, do an exercise and smoke because you could smoke in gyms back then.
I think I even saw Mike Menzer.
Yep. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, big time. Because like they had a lot of like open concept gyms where it was, even if it wasn't on Muscle Beach, they had the garage door up like my gym.
Back in the days, people were allowed to smoke in schools and hospitals and planes.
Restaurants. Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. Crazy. Bro, I'm in peak week, bro. I'm fucking 5 days up.
Yeah. Talk to you, is that you said?
Yeah, like you when you're on 5 days out, what's going on in your mind?
I'll tell you what, man. I am just, if I'm in your shoes right now, and I'm proud to be there too, but I've been there enough times to know.
How many shows you did? You did 5?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it would have been more if we hadn't had like the lockdowns and whatnot. I think I prepped 2 or 3 times, and they all just kept being like cancel, including one the night before when we were in the hotel for the rescheduled Toronto Pro in 2020.
You did a whole prep and it went to garbage the night before.
Yeah, dude. I tried. I started prepped 2 or 3 times that year. It was, you know what? Like I wouldn't have brought the best package because we kept on having that like 3 weeks out, canceled, 2 weeks out, canceled, and then this one finally looked like they were gonna get. It was gonna happen, and then the night before we were at this hotel in Barrie where the Toronto Pro had been moved to, and we were literally 12 hours out from TAN. And the hotel clerk had to tell us, like, hey, just so you guys know, like, it's done. It got shut down by the health unit. But regardless, though, so yeah, like 5 times on stage, right? And where I would be right now if I'm in your shoes is I'm understanding that rushing kills presence, and I'm just basking in every moment. Because
rushing, you mean rushing like to rush?
Oh, I mean like rushing kills presence.
Or the Russians, like the Russians in Moscow.
Rushing with a G.
Okay, so rushing.
Yeah, so like rushing. No, Russians kill presence. That's hilarious. God, those Eastern Bloc countries. I'm like, oh, he's getting political. Sorry, but no, rushing kills presence. So with me, I'm enjoying each day as it comes, which I know you discussed with Jesse too. But it's very much like I'm not rushing a single thing, a single meal, a single client meeting. It could be time with family. I'm staying as present as I can in every moment because I know in any given prep, I'm only going to be 5 days out once. I'm only going to be 4 days out once, 3 days, and you're going to change every single day. And you've worked over a year because you did some of them last year, right? So you've worked a year to be 7 days out, 6 days out, 5 days out, and experience that again. So don't take a second of it for granted, and don't worry about tomorrow. Your coach is going to send you the plan. So aside from getting organized, scheduling things out, etc., just live exactly where you're at right now. And when you live meal by meal, training session by training session, posing session by posing session, dude, when you're there, it shows on show day.
That's really something I know, me personally, I have a lot of self-development to do on. Because me, like, even without the shows, I'm someone who's really, I need to get shit done. Like, I don't like waiting. I'm impatient.
Mm-hmm.
I have ADHD. Like, I have serious ADHD, you know,
Me too, yeah.
prescribed, you know, and the reason why I don't take my medication is because of bodybuilding. Like, you can't be taking Vyvanse and eating 5 meals a day. Forget it.
Not off season, no way.
Not off season, not like prep. Okay, I understand. You're starving already, so kill yourself.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you can't be taking ADHD medication and get big at the same time. Because not only for the food aspect, it fries your central nervous system.
It's very high oxidative stress. Very high.
Yeah, and like working out on it, you're 1 second away from getting a stroke, especially if you're taking pre-workout with it. You know.
Oh, dude, I honestly, one thing I found is I cannot mix caffeine with Vyvanse, or it just makes me into a like lunatic. Like I get so twitchy and neurotic, man.
Oh, you have ADHD too.
Yeah, and I have the script for Vyvanse. The most I'll do is like 20, 30 milligrams. But like I said, you can't mix any stims with that, in my opinion. Maybe like Mont C. I like Mont C a lot. I just started that like a week or two ago here. But L-theanine stacks very well with things like the pardon me, the oh goodness gracious, what is that called? That class of so the Vyvanse medications. They are, yes, amphetamine, sorry, because some are Ritalin based and some are amphetamine based. Considered to be a Ritalin based, from my understanding. Could be wrong about that. Yeah. But L-theanine pairs very well with those because it has a calming effect. So it takes the edge off of the twitchiness and things like that. It can restore appetite because they're not as sympathetic in nature. But sleep, same thing. Like in the off season,
I haven't taken any of these in the last 5 years, I think.
No, and you know what, man? Like now I'm realizing like this off season was when Tyler and I, because he doesn't love the ADHD meds either, which I totally understand why. I'm in the same boat. Because off season it makes life so difficult. And when I got off, the rebound and appetite was insane, which was great. Coming off of anything that's got that relation to dopamine, though, I was a bit of a head case, I'll be honest. And it took some adjusting to, but finishing out the second half of off season without it certainly did make an immense, profound difference. In prep, there are days, especially when I have like early morning clients or full day and whatnot, like it's borderline hazardous for me not to take at least like 20 mg, for example. But if there is a time where I feel that it is not as detrimental, it would be in a prep scenario. And even then, if it's a day where I don't feel it's necessary, I don't do it.
Okay, so you still happen to dabble with it sometimes?
Yes. Yeah. 20, 30 mg of Vyvanse is correct.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's not something I would say uniformly is a good idea. It's just interpersonal, right?
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your lifestyle. Like right now, I know you're more into personal training.
That's right. Yeah.
You do a lot of personal training. So tell us, how do you juggle prep, bodybuilding with personal training? How does your schedule go? Like what time you wake up? What time you like to train? After how many meals? What time you like to go to bed? Because as personal trainer, at least we have the luxury to do our own schedule, at least in a certain way. Unless you have those clients that really want to do morning sessions, and some of them that really want to do PM sessions. But most of the time, we still have some kind of liberty or freedom in our schedule.
Yep, absolutely. And that's part of what really attracts me to it. So I graduated my kinesiology degree this past December. Congrats. And I think I appreciate that. And I did apply for teachers college, and I deferred it because I was like, you know what, man, like personal training is not something that can be a half pursuit. you have to be all in with it, because kind of like part-time training, dude, like it's going to do, especially if you have to pay rent like I do to a gym owner. Like I don't do house training. Like I just pay them a certain amount per month, and then I have my floor time, right? But I knew that it was something, if I didn't treat it like my full time, it was never going to be feasible. And I would feel really bad if I just shelved it in favor of something that was more comfortable and in favor of a pension, benefits, etc. Plus, like when you've been in school on and off so long, like
What is it? 4-year program? 4 years?
Pardon me?
Kinesiology was 4 years?
Yeah, so I started a different program right out of high school when I was 18, 19. And then I went down to college because although grades were in a great spot and I enjoyed what I was learning in a more like psychology, sociology field, I didn't see it transferring over to a career that I would enjoy or be of much of an addition to. I wouldn't be much service in those fields, if I'm being honest. And then I went down to fitness and health promotion. And then they had a bridge program, so that's 2 years. And then they bridge you into a kinesiology program. And they reduced that to, it was supposed to be 2 years, but then they had a bunch of curriculum changes, which you're not protected from. So if they decide we're only going to offer this mandatory lab every 2 years, then you kind of just got to stay and wait for them to have the lab so you can graduate. And that's kind of what I got pulled into. So it wasn't supposed to be that long, but I got a lot of time knocked off while being online, in all fairness too, from the lockdowns. But so I graduated that, and I said, all right, like I got to give this at least one fair shot, because if I don't, I will always regret it. Because the first time I tried, I lost it to lockdown, for example, right? So I went all in, and it was slow to pick up, but then around May, things really, really hit a different gear. Which
May 24 last year.
Oh, so I graduated in December 24, and that was in Windsor. So now I'm back here in London.
So that was right after Nationals.
Yeah. Oh man, I got to tell you this first real quick. So during peak week, dude, and this happened 2 years in a row because the Legends Cup in 23. So peak week for Nationals, I had to drive from London to Windsor 3 separate times, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, when weigh-ins were on Friday. So I had to drive 5 hours round trip.
That's a 2-3 hour drive?
Yeah, so I had to drive around round trip about 5 hours, 4.5 hours, right? So it was a little over 2 hours down and back each way. And I had to go because it was a mandatory lab. You had to attend. You cannot miss a lab, right? And then I had a midterm exam, and then I had a lab where you actually have to be examined while you do things in front of a professor or a preceptor, right? Mm-hmm. So that was all in peak week for Nationals. So I spent most of my peak week chugging 8 liters of water, driving to Windsor and back, and then I had to sit. There's no water allowed in the lab. So for 2 of those days, I had to take a 3-hour break, and it was a 3-hour lab with no breaks, no food, no water, because they didn't want you damaging the equipment. So then I'm sitting there, and I had to get up to ask and go pee, like so hard. Where they like pulled me aside, and they were wondering like, "What's wrong with you? Like, are you okay? Are you sick?" And thankfully, I just explained that I'm water loading and whatnot. And because it's still kinesiology or human kinetics, they were very understanding of that. Like, it's movement sciences. So they're like, okay, no, you know what? Like, we totally get it. Like, you got to step out and drink water, get a meal, whatever. Like, we fully support that. No worries. Just like, don't screw over your group mates, right? But so that was a lot of stress heading into peak week last year. Bounced back from it quite well, and I was happy with the result. But I'm glad that certainly won't be the case this year.
Yeah.
But even just like the travel is tough on your body, man. Like sitting in a car for 5 hours, 3 days a week, it ain't nice. But
then, so you graduated and you launched your personal training business?
Yep, bingo. So the gym that I was training at as a member here, and I've been really close in the culture for about 3 years now. Whenever I'm not in Windsor, a lot of my close personal friends go there. My RMT, he works out of that gym too. I know the owners quite well. So I inquired and said, like, could you use one more subcontract trainer? And they said, yeah, like 100%. Like, we've been hoping you would ask for a while. And they said, like, we could see you kind of being like a fairly prominent trainer here and doing quite well. Like, we really support this partnership. And so it took a few months to take off. Like I said, like, it was like I got a couple in January for the New Year's resolution or influx and whatnot. And then come the spring, started trickling in a little bit more consistently. And then I had a really big pickup in about May to June, which I wasn't expecting, because when I was online, or even when I was younger, I was training in person in my hometown, summers were dead. Like, I couldn't get jack in summertime, right? So I was very pleasantly surprised. I took that as opportune timing, kept building on the momentum and whatnot. And a lot of my referrals were in-person referrals and not online and whatnot. So that's where I kind of honed in on just providing the best service that I could and having a very person-first approach. And it served me well, and I'm very grateful. But it's nice, like you said, to have the liberty of a relatively flexible schedule. So what my day currently looks like is I do have a client that prefers training at 6 a.m. in his home, which is about 10 minutes away from me. So I usually start my days at about 5 a.m. and I'll get up and I'll do fasted vacuums. I will do fasted cardio if I'm told to, or if I have time that morning, either before or after the session, before the first meal. And then I'll take all my morning supplements and whatnot, and I will hang on the inversion table for about 5-10 minutes because I got to make height. And that starts about 4 weeks out.
That's the table that flips you and.
Yeah, I got it right next to me here. Actually, you might be able to see it right there.
And it actually helps you make a height?
Yeah, big time, dude. Big time, in my opinion. But the thing is, you got to do it consistently. You got to do it for like a month leading into the show. And there's certainly stretches to accompany it that I would recommend too, like a lot of neck, a lot of postural exercises and whatnot. And some guys will straight up do just like stack their hair really tall, and they're open about it. Like they'll just like, yeah. I knew a guy who
Ramon.
Oh yeah, dude. And I know a lot of like black guys will have like a fro and stuff like that, and they'll puff it up because sometimes the judges will push it right to your skull, like your scalp, and other times they'll just go to your hair. And with a guy who has like a big fro or something like that, or a perm, like they'll push down a bit, right? And they'll push down a bit, but even then, you just look at how much hair is stacking. It's still going to give you, it could be that 1/8 of an inch that you need to get over, right? And I knew a guy who was Sikh, and he had the turban on, right? And they let him height in with a turban on, so he got like an extra height class from the turban. This is a true story.
5 pounds, bro. Like, yo.
Yeah, man. He got bumped from B to C because he was in my class at nationals last year. He won. I think he won in Class B at Legends Cup, and the next year he was in the Class C at Vancouver this year. So good guy, but with me, I don't got a lot of hair left. So what I do is knowing what I do about because you were an osteo guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're very familiar with these things as well. Mm-hmm. But knowing what I do about spine health and whatnot, knowing what I do about just human anatomy, there are a lot of ways you can skin that cat, even in terms of like the posture when you height in, your breathing mechanics and things like that 100%. When you go to height in. Doing a posture check every day, hiding yourself in semi-regularly just to get like a consistent gauge, or like know that you might lose this amount of height when you get a little bit lower in weight and there's less water. You might lose a bit of fat on the pads of your feet, for example. And then what you can do is you can like kind of like scrunch your toes to make more of an arch.
You can take a really big breath, expand your thoracic cage, like.
Bingo. Yes, sir. You got it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always go, like I say, the biggest things for the actual day of the height, and aside from all.
But something that really helps a lot with that is just consistent therapy work, like massage therapy, osteopathy. You know, one thing that when we used to study osteo is because we have a lot of clinic. We had to do like at the beginning of the 3rd year, we had 2 full days of clinic. So that's 3 patients per day. And one of the feedback they would give us is after the sessions, when they would get back in their car, they would need to adjust the mirror.
Yeah.
Because they would get a little bit taller from the spine decompression.
Yeah. Bingo. And that's where I was going with that, was like there are things you can do on your own, but a big one is having like a really good RMT or chiro. And I'd really chalk it up to like how well versed they are in that exact nuance. But I have a guy like an RMT here, and like I can guaranteedly, especially if I get the tissue work done by him, and then I go home and I do the stretches and mobility to make it stick, I can absolutely get like half an inch out of that. No doubt. Yeah, that in combination with like the inversion table, like the kind of like day-to-day things. But you and I are very big on the vitality of the tissue work, man. Like it's when you are trying to turn professional or compete at a national level, it is integral. Like
I'm at a point where I'm getting like 4 to 5 treatments per month.
Dude, and I honestly tell people like once a week, year round, essentially, until about a week out when you just want to kind of control that water response, right?
Like for example, last week I had 1 massage deep tissue and 1 osteo session. Yeah. And this week I have 1 osteo session and 1 massage deep tissue.
Bingo. And that's the thing is like, if the guy knows what he's doing, and they're not wailing on you, you may actually lose a bit of water from those sessions versus if
Of course,
sessions
decrease the inflammation, reduce the stress, and
go.
100%. 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah,
But
oh, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
I was saying, like, us having the opportunity to be able to do a job where we kind of control our schedule.
Yes.
We're so lucky because me last year, first prep, I was still doing personal training. So I started personal training in 2019.
Yeah.
And I stopped it totally last year in October 24.
Mm-hmm.
But during my prep, I was still doing personal training, and I was dying, bro. And I was like, this is me doing a job where I control my own hours. It's not a 9 to 5. Like, I don't see myself prepping doing a 9 to 5. I don't know how there's people doing it. Like, these guys are on another level mentally. There's guys that have 9 to 5s, construction jobs, and how? I don't know, bro.
Yep. That's what blows my hair back is when I hear a guy prepping while he's in like hard manual labor all day. And let's say, for example, like I have a buddy who's a bricklayer, a stonemason, and I've worked with him before, like when he needed the hand back during lockdowns and whatnot. I'd go out there, and this guy, he doesn't walk, he sprints for everything on the job site. He sprints up ladders with buckets of mortar in both hands. And you know,
different.
They are, and like they'll like crawl up scaffolding, like yeah, I'm dead serious. It looks like a squirrel or something, dude. They'll dart up scaffolding, like with a reckless abandon. They have no fear, and they go like because they're paid by the hour, and like their reputation is largely built on how not only efficient they are and the quality of the work, but how fast can you deliver, right? Because you might have a contractor that's scheduled to come in next week, and you got 2 rain days. Well, you better get your butt in gear. And some of them, like they might not have laborers working for them. Some of these guys, like there's mavericks who do the whole thing themselves. They'll do like a block job for like a firewall or something, or they'll do like a chimney tear down or install. And they're doing it themselves and just like hand bombing everything. Like they do the mortar, they churn that thing themselves. They fill up buckets and they run up scaffolding or a ladder with it. They'll even stand on, you know what a boom is? When it's like the crane that you get, like it like goes up in the air to like a third or fourth floor of a building. You're kind of like a crane, but you can like a tub of mortar on it. I've seen him boom a tub of mortar up to a 3rd floor, run up the ladder, and then walk out onto the forks of this boom so he could shovel mortar into buckets while he's like mid-air with just 2 forks, kind of like a forklift prong. It's insane.
A lot of energy, and
I know guys who do that, and then they prep for nationals. I know a guy who works HVAC, so he'll be on top of a building sweating the sack off all day and living out of a work van, eating all his meals cold. And he was at nationals in Class D last year. Great guy.
Crazy. Yeah. Crazy. So how's this prep been going for you right now?
Great, man. Great. The best way I can describe it is that there have been peaks and troughs, but a lot of it's just like, given the feedback last year, we knew that we had to try something different. Whereas the last 2 to 3 preps, we had what we felt was a winning formula. But then, when you keep getting the same line of feedback in terms of like, condition was there, but posing needs to be better and your legs flatten out really bad, that kind of thing, right? It's like, okay, now I was eating good food before. Like there was a prep before Vancouver Pro where I don't think I ever got below 3,000. Yeah, I don't think I got below 3,000 calories, man. I don't think I ever did. I don't think carbs ever got below like 275. So like I was eating good, and I was doing a bit of manual work for the university, like just a lot of like outdoor recreation stuff. So I was sweating a lot, getting like 20,000 steps a day and everything on top of my normal cardio and posing, and just general training intensity lends itself to that too. But this last year before nationals, we were like, okay, like maybe we get you under the weight cap a little bit sooner, get you down to like 190, give you about 4 pounds of leeway. And then we carb you up hard the second you weigh in, right? And then it just wasn't enough time to get the amount of food that I need personally in to bring my legs back to life.
And when you had that extra amount of food, did it affect your waist?
You know what, man? Like, here's the thing.
That's my only concern about like the big load ups. My only concern is the waist.
Especially if it's been like you had like that peak week, you had to get really tight in terms of like, so flatten. What I mean is like I just took watertight last year. Like there was no need for diuretics or anything like that. Like I've tried to diazide once, and it was like squeezing a lemon. I didn't even pee because I was dry enough to begin with. It was a stupid idea. It just flattened me out. But ever since then, I've only taken dandelion root or watertight, in which the primary ingredient is realistically the dandelion root. But the problem being is that when, like you said, like I wanted to carb up clean, but then it's a volume issue. It's like, can I get that amount of food in? Like that sheer volume of, could be cream of rice, sweet potato, fruits and simple sugars, salting all the meals and whatnot to get some, to actually hold some of that glycogen and water. And I couldn't quite get there on the clean food alone. So then the last time we tried like a firehouse, I think it was, pardon me, go ahead, sir.
Burgers.
Yeah. So that's the thing. This prep we'll be doing more often, not every week, for example, but I think 2 or 3 times we've been doing the burger refill. Like there's a Gladiator burger at Nationals I went to.
Like
afterwards.
you mean earlier before show, or like very close to the show, like a day or
I
two?
mean like the night before stage, because when I weigh in, it's hard for me to like push all that glycogen back in time with clean food especially. So it's like, I think it should be like, Tyler and I are experimenting with it.
Yeah.
Last year he said do the burger, and then I was like, nah man, like I'm worried because I haven't had a burger this entire
Exactly. I don't like introducing new foods.
No.
You never know what could happen. Like your body could just be like, hey, we didn't have this in 6 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm glad I didn't, in all fairness, because we tried to get it all back in like rice cakes with like honey and almond butter, a lot of cream of rice, a little bit of jasmine rice and potato and whatnot. Well, you get the kind of like the resistant starches in the rice when it's cold after a while and whatnot. So that's where the rice cooker comes in handy, like you said. But I just couldn't get enough food volume in around like, like your tanning sessions, the rules meeting, sending photos to the coach and whatnot. And then you got to be up at like 3 a.m. for the tan, right? You shower and then you go for your tan. So between all that, I had a really hard time getting in. And Tyler said like, okay, we can be a little bit fuller. Let's do a burger. And then I was like, dude, like I haven't done a burger this entire prep. I think we're going to be running the risk of me either spilling out or having GI problems. And that really wrecks your vacuum when even if you're holding a little bit of like inflammation-based water around your stomach, suddenly you go to like pull your vacuum and that connection just like disappeared.
Yeah, and even like transitioning between poses is just
you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful. And like that's where I would take like digestive gold or something with it.
Yeah, I take digestive enzymes on with the meals
big
on.
Time. Oh, if I'm refeeding for like into the show, like I'm filling back out, I'll take one with like half the meals at least.
But I'm so excited, bro, because like seeing your body comes back to life, you're like, holy shit, this is what I actually look like.
You know when the heat comes back to your face
and you start sweating instantly, But that's also scary. You're like, but it's scary at the same time because you're like, I don't want to sweat like this on stage.
No, that's like what Ramon Dino had going on last year. Like if you mess up your carb up, and then your body temp gets spiked to the point where you're sweating everything out, then not only is it gonna
other than practicing your posing a lot, how can you avoid sweating on stage?
I'll tell you what a big thing, man, is first of all, getting that, like, I think it's very important to test your peak week protocol before the actual show, especially if you're one of those guys who has a qualifier and then the pro qualifier, right? Like in your case. So that's a pretty perfect scenario. But even when you're not, like one thing I'm going to talk to Tyler about heading into this weekend, because I'll be 2 weeks out, is I have a posing seminar at Pure. So what I kind of, because he said, he's like, we're going to meet you.
When is the posing seminar? When is it?
Yeah, September 20th, 11 a.m. till noon.
Oh, this Saturday.
This Saturday. Yeah, because 2 weeks out for me, right? While you're competing, I'll be in.
Is it with the Asian guy or the black
guy? So Carl and then the head judge, Rudy, will be there too. So they're hosting the seminar. And then afterward, I have a one-on-one session with Carl. And Tyler will be present for that too. So Tyler and I'll probably train, and then we'll.
Bro, your posing is so fucking good. Like I'm seeing every picture you're posting on your channel. Like not only did your physique improve so much compared to last year, like it really did. It really did.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
But your posing is actually good, bro. Like coming from like with all humbleness, I'm a good poser and I know it. You know,
very good poser.
The guy who poses well, I'm like, okay, well, Haas knows how to pose.
Well, that's what gives it meaning, is that like you're an artist yourself, right? And we've talked about how posing is that physical art. It's poetry in motion, right? If it's done right, and if you do it right, it should be as easy as breathing. It should be the most natural, flowy thing in the world. Like when it's time to pose, all the work's been done, the training's done, the cardio's done, and it's just time to pose. You should be like, oh, blast, let's go. This is it.
Like even your quarter turns, like your quarter turns to the right and left.
Yes.
But you've built a beautiful amount of density that just makes everything pop. Your back, your back relaxed, bro.
Appreciate it.
You need to tell me, drop your back workout right now. This is what we need to know. Yeah, you need to tell us your back workout.
Well,
You already gave me some
that's
stuff.
right.
Every time I train, bring your elbow to your back pocket. Now I tell my
Yes.
team, when you train, bring your elbow to your back pocket like Haas.
Yeah, exactly, man. There's a lot to it. And I'll say,
But look, this is good for lads. Me, I'm talking about erectors. And me, I struggle with chronic lower back issues from way back. I'm talking from like 2018.
Yep.
One of the reasons why I got into osteopathy was that. You know,
Yes.
one of the reasons that why I got into osteopathy was like, yo, me, I'm an athlete. You know, I want to help athletes one day when I retire from the sport. I have this lower back issue.
Yes.
It was one of the motivating reasons for me to go study into osteopathy. And that lower back issue is affecting me till today. I feel like I can't do the movements that actually make you grow thick erectors, like deadlifts, rack pulls, bent over barbell rows. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So like, how can I get thick erectors like you?
That's a great question, brother. And I'll tell you one thing is, so I came from a background of powerlifting at the international level. I was second in the world when I was about 22 years old. So I had that base at a young age of a lot of deadlifting, a lot of heavy rows, a lot of low bar and high bar back squats, front squats, you name it, right? Now, I'm not going to claim that's where my density came from, because at my first ever show, when I was coming off my last ever powerlifting meet, the one I retired on, my back was terrible, and it's what lost me the overall at that show. So what I've found, as someone who's been on both sides of the railway, the train tracks, is it's more about the how than the what. So we often associate certain exercises with density over others, right? And my takeaway from powerlifting was that there is a marked difference between training a muscle versus training a movement. A powerlifter uses muscles to shape or build a movement. A bodybuilder uses movements to shape or train a muscle.
Yep.
Now, obviously, you coming from osteopathy, you know how, like, what they really detect, like when we get into like spindle fibers and we get into like Golgi tendons and stuff, they detect tension, right? Especially when we're talking about myofibrillar tissue, right? Sarcoplasmic, it's a little bit more, because transient's like just like the pump, that's transient. Sarcoplasmic is when you get a bit more volume, very like pumpy, but you're still moving load and you still have a good contraction. Now, myofibrillar is just when you have that rock solid control, like full autonomy over the muscle, that Bluetooth connection we talked about, right?
Okay, so you would, let me see if where you're going into. For example, bent over barbell rows, but dead stop at the bottom.
Yes, that's a great example. And the thing being is like understanding the active range of a muscle, not just the full range of the joint that muscle is attached to. So I dropped in the group chat today, like people, when they do rear delts, they flap their wings and they throw the weight behind them. A lot of the ladies are guilty of this. So they do a kickback and they try to kick their heel above their head. No, when you're doing a posterior tilt, like at that point, it's all erector, right? Like you're not getting any more glute. If you're doing a rear delt,
adding
scapula is going fully into retraction and fully into protraction, you made it into a mid-back exercise between, like, let's say, the rhomboids and the mid-trap and whatnot, everything kind of around that scapular area, right?
So you would recommend me to add these in my workout next off season?
So yeah, so what I'm saying is like I've showed you stuff in the chat, for example, right?
Bro, I'm fucking pissed off right now because it's saying that my call ends in 20 minutes and I'm trying to upgrade to premium. But I saved my credit card information in this thing. Let me see if I can do it. If I can't figure out the payment right now, wait, agree and continue. Let me just put my stuff.
No sweat, man. I can always wrap this.
No, because I want to do the Q&A.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Yeah.
I want you to pick your three favorite questions.
Okay, sure thing.
But if I can extend it, we'll do more.
No problem, man. If you want, while you're taking care of that, I can just wrap that point up if you want, just to kind of make the best of our time here. But what I was going to say was that it's more about the how than the what. I'm far more concerned about execution than I am about the X's and O's on the program itself. Now, if someone tells me like, oh, I do all these exercises.
I'm all set. It's done.
Okay, thank God. Okay. I was trying to be concise, but I was like, dang, I want to answer these questions too, though, right? But just to put a goal.
Listen, I drop an Uber, okay? Okay, I'm here. Sorry.
Oh no, it's all good. Shouldn't want to interrupt you there. But yeah, it's more about the execution and the quality of movement, the economy of movement, right? If I give somebody my program, even with the tempos attached and whatnot, first of all, if I say it's a 4 count on the way down, I even send you an audio saying it's 4 Mississippi, which sounds like this: 1 Mississippi,
Mississippi,
2
2
Mississippi,
Mississippis,
3
3
Mississippi,
Mississippis,
4
yeah.
Mississippi. That's a long way down, brother. And when you count that in your head, even when you think you're like, if you watch it back on video, it's like 2 seconds when you think it's 4, right? So you can't rely on things like that. You got to have somebody to count it out for you, or you got to say it out loud if you need to, like under your breath, right? Put it on a watch, you know, if you got an Apple Watch, whatever, right? But that's where it's like, if somebody doesn't have that genuine connection, that Bluetooth connection with the muscle, one of the best things you can do is slow it down. Because the first thing someone is going to do, if it's too much weight or they don't have that connection with the muscle, is they're going to try to throw it. They're going to try to default to a stronger muscle, whatever that may be, and they're going to outsource that connection to whatever is already stronger, and they're going to skip right over the target muscle that they're trying to bring up in this case. So let's say you got bad lats, but you got a really strong mid back. Well, if you're doing a row and everything is just like you're doing branch Warren rows, which, hey, like if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But if we can slow that down and you can drag that elbow along the rib and you can do what I like to say is squeeze and freeze, because then we know you have full control over the weight and not the other way around. The weight should never control you. It should always be you who has agency over the weight.
Control the weight, don't let the weight control you. That's one of my favorite sayings that I like telling my clients.
And if you can squeeze and freeze, like if you can do a true dead stop at the peak of a row or a pull down, for example, if we're talking about back, you are fully in control and you're using nothing but muscle. Like there's no stretch reflex. You've removed that from the equation, right? So that's when you know you're using nothing but the target muscle, and anything else is kind of just a shot in the dark. And if you feel it, you feel it. But sometimes
I'm just looking for the questions, by the way. I don't know where I saved them.
No, it's all good, bro. I'm about to wrap that part up anyways. But
that was very, very good knowledge, because a lot of times I see guys in the gym, and I'm sure you see it too, guys that are like 5 times smaller than you, but they're training with the same weights that you're using. And you're like, don't you think one of us is doing something wrong?
Yep. And have you ever done a workout with one of those kids for free, just to like kind of like not prove a point, but try to edify them, you know, try to help them out? Because I've done that, and the best thing is like my one buddy at the gym who was very much responsible for my approach to training, great guy. He's the RMT that I work with, and he taught me this tempo style and whatnot, which I don't do for everything, but it kind of teaches you the skill of slowing down to speed up. Yeah, there we go. And that was probably Andrew. If it's a screenshot of mine, that's probably
the first question is actually what we're talking about. What's your training philosophy, and who got you into training? Who do you look up to?
You know, I have to give full credit to who I actually just paid homage to is my buddy Andrew. He's the RMT for my gym. He actually asked a pile of questions on my Q&A, and he really slowed everything down and challenged me to think about why I do everything I do in the gym. Why do I move a certain way? Am I doing this full wrong because I saw like Dr. Mike do it and I saw an influencer that I like do it, or a bodybuilder I like do it? Or am I doing it this way because I slowed it down and took my chance, or took my time to actually cultivate a connection with that movement? Is it serving me or is it not? So if the ROI on the movement is poor, like if I can do this, let's say an RDL, and I'm like, okay, I can move a lot of weight this way, and I feel like I'm getting a lot of hamstring and whatnot. Okay, is that actually your hamstring, or is that your sciatic nerve because you're actually going into a posterior tilt? Like, are you actually getting that point where
about something, Haas? I think after my show season, I want you to program my back workouts.
Yeah, man, by all means, I'm happy to.
And that's you got to be careful, because I just might, you might be in trouble after that.
Exactly, man.
I'm going to answer this question.
Yeah,
what's your training philosophy, and who got you into training, and who do you look up to? So my training philosophy, I think it developed really early. Guess from who? Tom Platz.
Oh, my man.
And you know what's funny too? After like research, like I fell so much in love with him that did so much research and shit. Me and him are born on the same day, June 26th.
No way, really?
And what's his nickname? Tom Platz.
Quadfather. Yeah, that's you.
I'm known for my quads, like.
Yeah. So you got more balance too, which is great. Like you have that flow, that very hourglass X frame too. To your credit.
Last year when I stepped on stage, I realized, okay, too much lower body. You need to grow the upper.
Right, and that's something that, like, especially in classic, I've noticed it's very hard to turn pro if you're being exceptionally bottom heavy. You can be a little top heavy and get away with it. I've seen some guys with slightly underdeveloped legs turn pro, and they kind of deserved it. but I've never seen someone who was like very bottom heavy win a pro card.
Because like I was sixth place. I probably had better quads than the first place winner,
Right.
but my upper body was just way behind.
Right. Because who did Humberto win the Open too?
The guy who won, Humberto won my class.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Michael?
Michael, he won the overall, and he's the one who turned pro.
He's pretty. Your legs are bigger, but Michael was pretty.
Yeah, he looks really good.
He had that Ken doll look, man. He had that Glenn Powell aesthetic going on.
Yeah.
There, and I was like, oh, and he's French. Like, oh, this is a GQ model. Everyone.
You want to pull up a question?
Yeah, man, I got you here. Andrew asked me some really good ones. One of them was actually on a note that we just brought up too about the RDLs and back health. That was a good one that he asked me, actually. It was, I sent it to you too. Actually, do you want to ask one more of yours?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull this.
What are your thoughts on people? This is from Tish. He's a guy on my team. He's natural.
Mm-hmm.
We went and did the 2 shows back to back this year and just took everything. What are your thoughts on people who do bodybuilding for fun?
You know what, man? To a degree, it's your life and your rules. I think if it's not hurting anyone around you and it's not this self-destructive suicide mission, then do you. And I mean, if you're going to run all the gear in the world and whatnot recreationally.
This guy's natty.
Oh, he is natural. Okay. I'm not, yeah, this wasn't directed at him specifically, mind you. But that being said, it is your life and your rules. And ultimately, like for me, it is a very superficial endeavor in a sense. So, I mean, I would never tell a girl like, no, like you should never get a breast augmentation. Like, why would you do that? That's cheating. Okay. But it's recreational though, right? So like there's competitive bodybuilding, just like there's competitive modeling and whatnot, right? So like if somebody wants Botox or they want to take anabolics, they want augmentation or whatever, it's to each their own. And like I don't think that I have any hierarchy over someone and I can look down my nose at them just because I compete and they don't. Because what that's really saying is like I pay to get judged and you can just look however you want. Whereas like I have to look a certain way and I pay people to tell me I look good.
Okay, because me, I had a different perspective on this question.
Mm-hmm.
When you said paid to get judged, you mean like when you actually turn pro as a bodybuilder, right?
Well, I mean like when we compete, we have to pay all of our registration fees.
Okay, yeah, because me, this is my answer to this question. What are your thoughts on people who bodybuild for fun?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone should be bodybuilding for fun unless like, because you're, you know, like I don't think people bodybuild thinking they're gonna make money out of it, because bodybuilding is more like take money out of you than give you back.
And that's what I was alluding to. Yeah, okay.
It's more into like what do you do with bodybuilding that's gonna bring money out of it. But like bodybuilding shouldn't be treated as like a source, like a career, you know, like you should compete because you love it, because you love bodybuilding. It should be fun from the first place, you know. You should be having fun bodybuilding to even do, because it's too hard to do it if it's not for fun.
Exactly.
And if it wasn't fun, nobody would be doing it. Like,
no, I feel like anytime you make something, like you can make something your job and still love it. Don't get me wrong. But when your entire income and salary relies on it, it's one thing if it's supplemental. You know what I mean? Like you get contracts and whatnot, and you have a business that revolves around coaching. That's one thing. But I have to imagine that when it becomes a matter of like, if I don't win the Olympia, like I'm going broke. Like that certainly adds a layer of stress.
Yeah, big time.
And you can say that about any sport, in all fairness. But no, I entirely agree with that perspective. I thought you mentioned something about someone running like copious amounts of gear. I don't know why, but I'm sorry. But I mean, like actual bodybuilding itself, the fundamentals of it, the principle of it, is something everyone should be doing in one degree or some degree or another, in my opinion. Like even if it's just a matter of you resistance train 2 or 3 times a week in your 60s or whatnot. You get your 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. You eat relatively clean. It's like if those are the parameters, then yeah, that's something that you could.
But I'm sure he meant about like bodybuilding, stepping on stage.
Yes, and that's what I mean. But like I mean, like as far as like, if they're doing it recreationally and it's in a way that it's essentially just bettering their health and it's only making them better than they would without it, I'm all for it.
Okay. What is the safest way to use steroids, or how to minimize side effects?
Great question. So if somebody makes the executive and informed decision to do them, my best advice is, first of all, you need to continue your education. So something like J3U is a great way to do that, or get a very experienced coach. regular blood work, and an understanding. If you don't have it, I'd ask your coach, assuming that they're familiar with it, because a lot of doctors aren't. First of all, they might just read it to you and not even show you. That's a big problem that I
Bro,
have.
you would be surprised. You would
Mhm.
be surprised. I have guys that I sent to do blood work.
Yeah.
Then when they get the results, they told me they had a talk with the doctor and they told me everything is fine.
Yeah.
Then I told them, okay, send me the blood work.
Yes,
And I
exactly.
look at it and I'm like, okay, your estradiol is through the roof.
Bingo.
Your ALT and AST is high as fuck.
Every
Your
time.
lipid profiles are messed up. What are you? It's okay. Go get the blood work done, but don't listen to them. Just come to me. Like that's actually
Yep.
crazy. That's actually
Yep.
crazy.
I've had 22-year-old girls who had amenorrhea and whatnot, and they go to their doctor and they say their blood work is fine. I'm like, okay, well, like, with all due respect, I need you to kind of pursue them a little harder on that and see if you can get a copy of it. So like I get it from the Life Labs recorder or whatever eventually. I look at it and like their thyroid is tanked, like their aldosterone is tanked, everything is tanked.
What
And
do you mean when it comes to thyroid?
when it comes to thyroid, I mean, I'll tell you what, man, if I'm being fully transparent, if it's somebody who's never going to entertain the idea of like thyroxine, for example, or any thyroid hormone, like, you know what I mean, like T3, T4.
Yeah.
If it's somebody who's like, no, I insist on doing it completely naturally, even if they are like qualified to do it and they never, like, they could just get a script for it, for example. If they insist, the biggest thing, man, is they're almost always girls who've been rabbit dieting or crash dieting, and it's just been this starvation cycle. The best thing I can do is give them a micronutrient dense diet that's like almost all whole foods. And then from there, it's like we're talking about
You fix it with food only.
that's my first approach. And then from there, you can go like the route of things like DIM, for example, chasteberry and whatnot. Those are okay, but I first try to resolve anything I can with, for example, red meat, whole eggs, fruits over vegetables, but vegetables too, obviously, especially if it's a matter of getting about like 25 to 30 grams of fiber in a day, just for their GI, because they usually have bad GI too, because when you are vitamin D deficient, when you are anemic and whatnot, usually your GI is tanked, which is why the highest occurrence of IBD, so that could be colitis or Crohn's, is in Northern Europe because they have the lowest sunlight exposure and they have the least access to fresh fruits and vegetables.
And right now we're talking about if it's too low or too high, or if it's too low.
It's always, in my case, if a girl has like terrible thyroid or they have like amenorrhea, for example, the big three threats to women's health in general, I call them the terrible triad, are osteopenia, amenorrhea, and anemia. And they're almost always co-occurring in my case. And these
with
could
low
like
TSH levels.
bad.
Well, what if a guy, he never
Mhm.
took any like T3 T4, but he comes out with TSH elevated? Like, what's the issue?
That's a good question, actually. I haven't had that one come up personally with a lot of clients. I do have one guy who had a thyroid problem and he got medicated for it. So I haven't had to parse that one out myself personally. But what I do anecdotally know is like I'm always curious to see what the diet looks like. I'm curious what their actual activity level looks like, because I've had some people where, for example, they're like pre-diabetic and they didn't seem very overweight, but then we just got them exercising, even if it's just like step count, getting between like 10 and 12,000 steps, and then 3 days of resistance training a week in person. And of course, monitoring how they actually go about that. Suddenly their insulin sensitivity improves dramatically without like hardly any other modifications, no like different medications and things like that. Even like TSH and things like that improve just from having them exercise on a regular basis.
Okay, look, I have a question. I want to answer it, and then I'm gonna let you shoot 2 or 3 questions, and then at 2, I have to bounce.
Yeah, me too, man. It's all good.
How is your prep this year different from your prep from your first prep last year? What are you doing different? So me, I'd say like last year at 10 weeks out, I was dead. I was like, that's when the shock hit me. Like, okay, this is what a bodybuilding prep is, you know?
Yeah.
That was last year at 10 weeks out. It was the hardest shit ever done in my life.
Mhm.
This year, it was smooth all the way till 5 weeks out. But at 5 weeks out, I hit a level of conditioning that I've never hit before. And I realized this: the leaner you get, the harder it's going to be. Like every time you're good, I don't know for you or for me personally, like every time you hit a new level of conditioning, you're going to experience a new level of pain.
Exactly.
And what I did differently this year is just, I didn't do anything different. As soon as I finished my show,
Yeah.
I treated it like it was prep already. I did a health phase, went back into off season, didn't miss a single meal, straight into the prep till now. It's about being consistent and like doing it month after month after month after month. But you will get leaner. year after year. And I think the leaner you get, it's just a new level unlocked. Like a new level of conditioning is going to require a new level of pain, of discomfort.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I
I
do think
did my clippers yesterday at my coach's office, lowest ever, 5.6, bro.
attaboy. Yeah, I saw that in the group, the channel, the private channel. Yeah, that was sick.
5.6.
And it's actually a realistic number too, because sometimes they're not always accurate, but clearly your coach has a qualified eye, because I would put you at about 5% for sure. So great to see.
What about you? Different disc prep last year versus this year?
Great question. So last year was very much like zero cheats. I think we had maybe 2 refeed days the entire 12 weeks out, because I came off the back of Vancouver, right? That being said, the feedback was that I have a problem with flattening out. So now we've made a more intentional effort of keeping in a few more high days and a few more actual like proper cheats. Again, like the actual cheats maybe every like 2-3 weeks.
What were they? Burgers?
Yeah, always burgers in my case. Yeah.
Same place?
Yeah.
What is it, Gladiator?
So that's the thing is like I've been doing them with more franchises, so like Five Guys, for example, because they're more, you'll find them in like other cities.
They're more consistent too, right?
Yes. Whereas like I have a place just under the apartment building. It's called Snack Burger. It's a locally owned place.
That's dangerous when it's right under the building.
It is, and I'm good with that because I'm not very food driven because I was sicker when I was younger, right? But although I'm not a big food guy, that's convenient being right there. And I tried that, and it's very like fresh and it feels very like homemade and stuff, which I do love. But they're not going to have that in Toronto, so I'd rather do something like Five Guys.
You should try Habibi Meals if you come to Montreal.
Oh yeah.
You let me know.
Oh, you already know, man. You already know.
Best #1 meal prep business in Montreal, bro.
Without a doubt, man.
Pull up 2 questions. We wrap it up, bro. It's been fucking awesome. I loved it. I love these podcasts. Like it's my 2nd episode. I already have 2 other guests planned out. I feel like we're just releasing. Feels good to find someone who is on the same page doing what you're doing, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, Haas. Okay, drop 1 or 2 questions.
Okay, so the first one is, and I don't know if you've noticed this too, but a lot of competitors, especially if they're more developed, let's say like an open competitor at the pro level, they start having this problem where suddenly they start losing lats and they start losing density, and those erectors, they flatten out. You might have even noticed it a little bit with Urs Kalczynski this year. There's been a couple people put up pictures being like, oh, what happened to his erectors and whatnot.
To Urs?
Yeah, that's just one example. And in all fairness, I think his was just a lighting thing at the show, to be fair. I don't think he's the best example. But you've even heard of Ian Villaire talk about it, where like he's lost that density in his back as time went on. And I have a theory that it's because like what happens is that because I'm carrying that amount of tissue and moving poorly, they have so much compression on either the femoral or sciatic nerve. Because you're a physio guy, you would get this. And they don't do any work in terms of flossing. They don't do any like that. They don't do
Big Ramy had something like that too.
Yeah, Big Ramy was the best example because remember he couldn't separate the muscle. That was partly from SEO too, mind you. But that's another example of it is like if you get jamming stuff and you keep on nailing your femoral nerve accidentally or clipping it or just even oil compressing on it, for example. I think a lot of these guys have nerve compression around that pelvic area, low lumbar area.
I'm developing that as well. I see it in my back shots. Like you know how I told you I have the lower back pain?
Yeah.
I have one side where the muscle shows more than the other.
Bingo. Yeah, my left lat. So I have left side numbness. That's gotten a lot better this year with the treatment that I mentioned for my RMT here, because he's got into he specializes in low back stuff. Recently, he's got a lot into it. But point being, though, is that what I've kind of come into this year is the more that I work on proper, and I mean like proper core work in terms of very postural stuff, like stacking head over chest, over hips, over knees, over ankles, and doing a lot of very proper modified curl ups, bird dogs, rotating planks, and things like that. Like Stuart McGill, he's exactly. So doing things like that, and then transitioning it to every movement, and even making modifications to machines where necessary, so that you're not in a terrible like either anterior or posterior tilt. Like just keeping aligned in those movements, dude. That's what blew my legs up. Because I think a big reason my legs, like flattening is one thing, but they weren't growing at the rate that I would expect, is because I did not have that neural drive there. Like it didn't feel like I would feel exhausted. What I was feeling was not a burn from the actual muscle tissue. It was my sciatic nerve. And so whenever I would train hamstrings, I feel this really sharp, like electrical burn. And then I went to Andrew, my RMT, and he eventually said, he's like, dude, that's not your hamstring pumping, dude. That's nerves. Like you're literally pissing that nerve off to a point where it's biting on you and everything. You have like no connection with your actual hamstring. And right as we start parsing that out and this is with actual dynamic movements and movement prep itself, not just like passive treatment. But the more I did that, my legs, dude, even like the way they contract and the way I can feel the load on them now.
We gotta get on a call, me and you,
Mhm.
just to talk more about it. Cause bro,
Yeah.
maybe I'm at a point where when I do leg extensions,
Yeah.
my lower back is killing me. Can you
Because
imagine?
you're essentially doing a nerve flossing on the femoral nerve.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Bingo. I
You
know.
know, nerve flossing is there's this osteo who showed me a crazy thing for nerve flossing. People who have tendonitis,
Yes.
they go like this, like this. Try
Yeah.
doing it now.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. Yeah.
You would feel
That's right.
the ulnar nerve here just stretching. So you can
Yeah.
even stretch your nerves, bro.
You can, dude. It's fascinating. They get into
Your nerves
fascia.
is crazy. I love talking about this. I love talking about this.
Yeah, it's a conversation for a different day, but it's just great to hear somebody else who's kind of in that arena, you know, because a lot of bodybuilders don't appreciate this stuff, although it is paramount. Because can you imagine being at the level of someone like Big Ramy, and then you're losing shows based on something as simple as like, bro, if you just got treatment 1 or 2 more times a week and did some more proactive movement prep,
I mean, we all heard Jay Cutler getting massage tissue every single day for his Olympia prep.
Yeah. And how else do you have that longevity with that size? Like talking in terms of longevity, Jay did amazing for like as far as like true like off season 300 pounders and like between that like 260 to 280 on stage mark. Very few guys have had that longevity. I'd say the only other one I can think of.
Dexter.
Yeah, and he wasn't as big, but exactly to your point though, there's very few guys who had the longevity of a guy like Jay at the size of Jay.
Yeah, the size of Jay is impossible. Like,
yeah.
I mean, look at Ronnie today. It's unfortunate, but
and I think that's why a lot of guys as they age, they lose their legs because the back gives out. It's been so many decades of bad posture and zero movement prep and activation work. I think that catches up to you eventually.
You want to shoot a last question?
If you got one, I'm game, but otherwise, I think we hit every note.
We already talked about style of training. Okay, this one's for you. How has bodybuilding impacted your life outside the gym?
Oh, great question, man. Great question. So I'll tell you one thing, beyond a shred of doubt, it has tested my mettle and reaffirmed my faith beyond a shred of doubt. Like nothing has made me more profoundly aware of what I'm capable of than prep. Like when I thought, because you have the ADHD as well, so you're well aware, like it's easy to get very frustrated with yourself and have a very low sense of self-efficacy. You're like, oh, my time management's bad because of this. And you start making a condition your personality. And that's learned victimhood is such a terrible self-limiting belief to place on yourself. Whereas bodybuilding taught me that, no. With proper time management, I can get all the meals in. I can fit all my clients in. I can get all these assignments in school done. I just have to be very on the ball. And then I found out as far as pain thresholds and discomfort and even just being able to sit still and just pause and say, you know what, like I'm hungry, but it's not that bad. I'm not dying. I'm eating 6 times.
I'm dying. What are you talking about? I'm starving.
but you know what I'm saying. It's like you can sit there and be like,
I know what you mean.
hungry, but I'm not actually gonna die. Like it's not 40 days of fasting in the desert kind of hunger, right?
I know.
There's type 1 and type 2. When your stomach feels like it's flipping inside out, that sucks. And the waking up in the night thing does suck. I do totally get it. But what I'm saying is like just being able to rewire your perception of that, being able to kind of just reconceptualize it and say like, no, this isn't boy. Being able to rewire it and think, this isn't hunger. This is fat literally incinerating off my body. Or when you're training and you're especially on something like quads and like you feel like every single fiber is about to burst. And like you're in agony, and it's that like hysterical agony where you can't even think straight. And you're like, wait, no. This is cell swelling. This isn't pain. This isn't failure. This is the muscle literally bursting at the seams.
Where I feel it the most is internal organs. I can feel the visceral fat being burned off.
Yeah,
that's the fat between the organs. That's where I feel it burning the most.
That's a weird one. Yeah, you ever get it when you go to because sometimes I'll do my vacuums in the evening too after cardio. And if you got like a full stomach, for example, too, and you go like pull a vacuum and you can feel what you're talking about, like you feel spaces in between.
Yeah.
Especially when those last maybe let's say but 4 weeks out onward when you're like really rounding into shape, that's where I really notice the same thing you're saying there. Especially when I vacuum because I can feel it.
Getting lean and prepping for a show are two different worlds apart. Like for us right now, getting to 10% body fat, we can keep that year round. Like having abs and look, it's
No. And
that's why
probably
I
not
think
even younger.
that's why I think it's kind of easy for us to coach people because we know what it takes to actually get dumb shredded.
Yeah. And you've been in the driver's seat, right? It's like, I don't want a skinny chef or a ball barber.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Like,
You know,
bro, being honestly, like at 10 weeks out, 9 weeks out, I was at 10%. Like
yeah.
even I was at 8% body fat. Life was still good. I
That's
was
what I'm
eating
saying.
3,000 calories. Cardio was easy. Training was good. Performance was good. Like
Oh,
it's being lean is fine, but getting
mm.
stage peeled, it's another world, bro. It's
Dude,
just
like 8 to 12 is honestly like entirely sustainable. Depending, there's some guys who are a little bit, they have it easier than others, but I would say, yeah, we'll say 10 to 12. I honestly only feel healthier there. But then you get a few points above it or a few points below it, and the
yeah,
pendulum flips
yeah,
either way.
yeah, yeah.
Different story. But that 10%, I wouldn't even be hungry at that, to be honest. Like for me, it's when I get deep into single digits where I'm like, oh yeah, now I'm feeling it, you know. And like you mentioned before, it's more so the fatigue than the hunger. Like I have a high tolerance for hunger. I have a pretty low food drive, but that fatigue, man, especially when I'm brain fogged at work and
Yeah,
stuff.
me, what it kills the most is the sleep. Like right now, I'm on 5 hours
Oh,
of sleep, bro. Like
ugh,
Like
I
you might
could,
think that transitioning to online, you work less, but you become so obsessed. You're like, I'm creating content till 2 in the morning. I'm booking calls like whenever I can. Just bro, you still
yeah.
work a lot. There's a lot more freedom, probably more money too, but you're still. And I'm
Mhm.
on 5 hours of sleep. I had to take a 10-minute power nap between the clients just
Yeah.
by, you
That
know.
freedom costs time, right? Like
Yeah,
time really is money. And that's what everyone told me. Like even I had a college professor way back in the day who said like being free in business means being free to work 90 hours a week versus 40 hours in a job you hate. But he's like, don't get me wrong. You're probably, if you want to make the same amount, you're probably going to have to work double the hours in the beginning, especially until you can pay to outsource some things or you can kind of more passively invest and whatnot. But that takes time. And, you know, even then, like there comes a point where you don't really want to let your foot off the gas
yeah.
because, you know,
Bro,
like
you become so
enjoy it.
obsessed
So,
with it because you love it. It's your baby, right? So
yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
you're so invested in it. You don't mind putting in the fulfillment it brings from it is so satisfying. But anyways,
exactly.
you guys didn't know me and Haas. We have a photo shoot session
We do.
scheduled in Toronto
Mhm.
one day after nationals. So we're gonna shoot some pictures, take some videos, train together. Looking
Yeah.
forward to post all of this. Haas, it's been a pleasure and an honor to have you on the podcast today.
Yeah.
Any last words? Where people can find you?
Oh yeah, you can find me online. My Instagram is Hoss_Hayes. That's HOSS_HAYES. And yeah, if you're in the London area, I do train at Showtime Fitness. Showtime is with a Y on 24 Bathurst Street. I'd be more than happy to get you in for a consult and chop it up. But yeah, otherwise, it's been such a pleasure to finally speak one-on-one. I cannot wait for our shoot. And for those curious, we will be keeping pants on so that nobody has to see how my legs look compared to this guy's. But yeah, I couldn't be happier. And God bless,
You never
brother.
know. We might go to the posing room, get a shot or two there.
You never know, man. You never know. That's kind of like the end of a Rocky movie where they have one last fight in like the little closed gyms. No one has to see the final fight. That's what it's gonna be like.
It was a pleasure, Haas. Okay. Have a
Absolutely.
wonderful end of prep and pray for me for these last 5 days. I got to stay strong.
Always, brother. God bless. I'm very proud of you.
Take care, my guy. Talk to
Take
you
care.
soon. Bye bye.